What's up, guys, and welcome back to the Little Scale Cars YouTube channel. Today, in the review box, we have the Pagani Utopia, this one from BBR Models, their 1/64 scale range. But now with the market kind of becoming saturated with Utopias, let's see if these kind of stand out and make themselves the ones to buy. So let's go ahead and get started with our casting here. Take a quick glance at it, and we can see that obviously, as we would expect, our proportions are going to be quite nice, and there's nothing to really complain about. We'll pop the real-life car kind of up there in the top corner so you can get a little bit of a comparison shot, kind of see what it looks like compared to the real deal. Now, when we break the casting down here, there's actually quite a few things to kind of mention here. So almost everything you're going to see painted here is going to be die-cast metal, so that is going to be very solid. Your kind of wing pieces here, these are going to be plastic, and then these sections on your mirrors are going to be plastic, and they're going to be like a more solid plastic instead of the rubber that you'll get from like a mini GT. Back down here, I think this section might be plastic, but I'm not 100% certain of that. The majority of everything else, though, is going to be metal, including your base, and that is very, very solid and gives it a good heavy feel. All your body lines are going to be replicated quite nicely. You see the doors here, kind of these vents and stuff. Making your way up top, this window piece extends into here, and it's got some like texturing on it to kind of give it a carbon fiber illusion, I guess. It looks very, very good. All through in here, been incorporated in its own little piece. This is its own little piece. Your body lines up here replicated quite nicely. And again, up front, all these little kind of intricate pieces have been replicated very, very nicely. So on the whole, I feel comfortable giving the casting an A+. So for our paint and deco, at the time of this recording, these are the only two that are out right now. So you've got kind of this nice kind of creamish silver color. That's basically the color the Utopia is known for at this point, and it looks quite nice. Almost a hint of metal flake to it. I'm not quite sure if I would call that metal flake, but it's definitely very nice looking. And then you got this one, I think it's Rosso Dubai is the color. Just kind of this nice deep red, again, with just a touch of like metallic paint-ish to it. Not quite metal flake, but enough to give it that metallic look. And I think that both of these look quite nice. I do hope that they do some more, though, because the Utopia has already got quite a few really cool kind of specs out there. And I think there's a lot of room for this casting to really go forward. So for the paint and deco, though, I will give it an A+ for the two that we have so far. Moving into our details, we'll start up front here. And we do get these two nice plastic inserts for our headlights. So this is actually a lens that's kind of covering a plastic little insert back there. I'll tell you how I know that in a little bit. Then you got this little piece here replicated in carbon fiber with your Pagani logo inside. You get another little light thing here, and then no meshing inside this bit, which is a little bit sad, but not the end of the world. You can't really tell. Coming down to the sides here, you get a little bit of detailing here. You get accurate wheels, which look quite nice. The little silver paint there. Horatio Pagani signature on the side here. And then you get a little dot of silver there for, I think, the gas tank. Would be that what that is. Coming to the back here, you do get taillights. There's no red to them. They're very much clear. I think this is like the third brand now that's done this, so I can only assume that that's just how they are on the real car. We do get the exhaust painted quite nicely here. Actually, I'm not even sure it's painted or if it's a plastic inserted piece. Either way, it looks quite good. You get a Pagani license plate as well, and then you get a little extra bit of detailing here. You do get the Utopia little decal there as well, which looks quite nice. Now, there is two other little red dots here that you can't quite tell them on the red one, but they are there, and they do look quite nice. Interior. The engine bay is very nicely detailed. Nothing crazy, but it does look quite good. And then what you can see of the interior is very, very nice, actually. If you were to take this apart, I'm sure you'd be very impressed with what you can see inside there, because it is clearly very nicely detailed. There are a few things missing I think it should have at this price point, though. So for that reason, I'm only going to give it an A. Moving into our roll test, this is a BBR model, which if you don't have any of them, they are going to roll just as nice as a Mini GT typically does. When I put this one on the scale, it does come out to be 52.34 grams, so it has some very nice heft to it and has a good heavy feel. Pros and cons, getting started with the pros, is the biggest pro is going to be that level of detail. The little extra carbon bits up front on top here that look really nice. Interior detail, very nice. A little bit of carbon here. Just very solid as far as the details go. No real complaints. For our cons, though, there is one that I think is kind of a half con, and that is going to be the lack of brake calipers or brake details of any kind. That is definitely disappointing when you're paying for like a fully premium. Like, this is supposed to be even more premium than a Mini GT, which it is, but I think the brakes are really something that could be added, no issue. The other big con, though, is going to be QC issues. I think it was the silver one showed up, just like my Tarmac Works version, actually missing one of the headlights entirely. Luckily, I did find it in the box, so it was still there, but it was not attached, so I had to glue it on myself. Yeah, so very odd that this car seems to be lending itself towards that, because I've had that same issue now with 2 different brands. For some quick size comparisons, here we have it with some budget-friendly Paganis that you might have, with the Matchbox Pagani Huayra Roadster over there on your left, and the Hot Wheels mainline Pagani Zonda R. And here we have it with some fully premium Paganis that you might have, with the Mini GT Pagani Zonda F over there on your left, and the Tarmac Works Pagani Huayra BC over here on your right. So with all that out of the way now, let's go ahead and find some overall thoughts here. Hype level, I think that this definitely lived up to the hype. There was a lot of people that thought this was going to be the end-all be-all Utopia. This was going to be the best one that there is. But then CM models came out, and it is exquisite. It's a lot more expensive than this one, though, so you have to factor that in. So for what I think people's expectations were, I think these are definitely there. For value, I'm going to say it's pretty decent. You can get these for around 20 bucks. I got mine for 23. Now that they've been out for a while, I have seen them going as low as like 17 bucks with 4 bucks shipping. So there is something to think about there. It's going to run you about 20-ish. And that's decent, I would say. It's not too bad. Even with the no brake calipers, I would say that's an okay price. The community feedback on these has been really positive, actually. I haven't seen too many complaints other than a handful of QC issues. So the community is pretty happy with these overall, I would say. So this is a very good kind of middle ground Utopia. You're not going to spend quite as much as you would on a CM model, but you are spending more than the Hot Wheels, obviously, and you're spending more than quite a few of the other budget brands, and also more than the Tarmac Works. But for $20, it's pretty good still. Like, you're going to get a few more details that you won't get on the Tarmac Works, especially that carbon fiber. The carbon fiber elements are small, but they do add a lot, in my opinion, to really give it that kind of extra look. I have reviewed the Tarmac Work, but it was the full carbon version, and this version just came out, and I don't plan on picking it up. But if you do get it, make sure you let me know if you think it's any better than this, because I am very curious. If you can find it for under 20 bucks, I would say it's an absolute instant pickup. But even at the $20 price point, I think it is well worth it. But maybe you would consider some of the other options out there as well. But I would still recommend it if you are a Utopia fan, but at least consider your other options, because there are plenty at this point. And that will do it for this video, guys. That's all I have for you. I hope you have enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you leave a like, subscribe if you are new, and don't forget to leave a comment telling me what your thoughts are on this particular model, and I will see you guys in the next video.